Right, but so Francisco Bandido Vargas is your new super featherweight champion in what was apparently an epic ninth round knockout victory against the former champ Takashi Miura. So if you can find that somewhere, apparently that's worth a rewatch. And then maybe, the Cota Alvarez fight would be a good rewatch too if you can find it, just to see, you get your own scoring opinion on it as well, since that seems to be the thing to debate. But like I said, I think ultimately having a competitive, entertaining fight, regardless of outcome, was a good thing for boxing in this event. And then you add that to the fact that it's a 25-year-old guy who's 45-1-1 was your winner. Again, that could be, hey, maybe we've got a new star here that can draw. And again, the world of boxing needs that, like I don't know what needs that, like a San Francisco 49ers fan needs a tissue box. I don't know, something along those lines. But yeah, so there's your boxing news, right? We got some boxing news in, that's rare. And then, we're crossing college basketball off the list. Whew, out the window. See you next week, NCAA hoops. And then in our final championship segment, before we get to some winter sports, hockey and basketball action, as well as college football, and our Balls Deep thought of the day before the show is done here, is in the WWE. Now, like I said, we had the Survivor Series pay-per-view this past Sunday. It sucked. If you missed any of it, you didn't miss anything. In the first of the semifinal matches, we had Roman Reigns beat Alberto Del Rio to advance to the championship for the vacated title. In the other semifinals match, we had Dean Ambrose victorious over Intercontinental Champion Kevin Owens. And then in a fairly good match, we had Roman Reigns victorious over Dean Ambrose clean. No heel turns or anything like that. But then Triple H came out, congratulated him. Roman Reigns speared Triple H immediately upon that. Sheamus appeared out of nowhere and Brogue kicked him, cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. Brogue kicked him again and left with the title, as I predicted on Friday to one of my WWE minds and personal friends, Mr. Lucha Luis, as we'll call him here on the show. Me and him were talking Survivor Series on Friday, and I told Lucha Luis that all signs point to Sheamus walking out, cashing in Money in the Bank on the winner between Ambrose and Roman, and leaving with the belt, and that is exactly what happened. Aside from that writing, which was actually good writing, and the last 30 minutes of the pay-per-view was actually pretty good. Everything before that was garbage. Paige Charlotte was nothing. The two semifinal matches were, nothing. There was not one OMG moment where you were like, oh, at least I got to see that sweet, jump off of the whatever, or the, slamming through the whatever. Like, there was not one awesome OMG moment, not one awesome match. Taker and Kane were victorious over the Wyatt family in a snoozer. Tyler Breeze was victorious over Ziggler in a snoozer, much to my dismay. Well, not a snoozer, but just, it's a throwaway match, so it's limited as to how good it can be. It doesn't have, it's not eligible to be a 5-star match. It's handcuffed. It can only be a 3.5 to 4-star match, period. But they're just no debuts. No, like I said, no debuts of any new stars. Was there a return? There was a return in the very first match which was one of two pointless traditional Survivor Series style matches. And the first one featured a returning Goldust and some Dudleys and Primetime players versus Stardust and Ascension and whoever. But yeah, so Goldust was back and looks to be resuming his feud with Stardust, so that was nice to see. But that was it. That was literally it. Like, all the matches stunk. Nothing important happened other than the title picture. And it was, like, seriously, I'm going to watch it again on WWE Network, A, to see if it was as bad as I think it was, and B, because there was a lot of streaming issue with the stupid network when we were trying to watch it, so it was constantly interrupted. But there is your Survivor Series recap. Raw this week equally sucked. It sucked way worse, actually, as a matter of fact. Raw was terrible this week. New Day is the only thing worth watching on WWE programming. If you didn't see what they did this week on Monday Night Raw, you can find it on the internet. Go find it. Gosh darn it, they are freaking hilarious. New Day rocks. New Day rocks. New Day rocks. Yeah. Booty. That's right, I said booty. All right. We got 3 real quick topics to go through here. Let's get hockey out of the way real quick. I want to say my Minnesota Wild, who are playing tonight against the Vancouver Canucks, and I have the game on. I believe it just got done as I am recording, and we lost by a final of 3-2. This following a 4-0 shutout. I can't remember who we got the 4-0 shutout against, but yes, we do lose to the Vancouver Canucks tonight by a final score of 3-2. Was 3-1 going into the third period. Wild desperately need to get healthy. Primarily Zach Parise needs to come back. Will make a huge difference in the win-loss column. Would be nice to see Dubes consistently playing closer to the level he was at last year. However, it is still nowhere near panic level by any means. The defenseman could definitely help him out as well. Puck control, zone control, just keeping the puck and the other guys out of our own zone would help quite a bit. We're inconsistent. It's not that it's a weakness of ours, but we're inconsistent on it from game to game. Power play without Parise has been less productive than it was with him. The power play when Parise was healthy was one of the best in the league throughout the beginning of the season. I believe Pominville is still scoreless. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. But I believe he is still in the ultimate drought of his life. Fontaine really needs, not Steve Prefontaine, but Fontaine for the Wild. He is another on the injury report that doesn't necessarily, what he contributes to your team doesn't necessarily, jump out at you on the box scores or anything like that. But it's certainly to, above average hockey minds, at more elite hockey minds than my own. They insist that Fontaine he's one of your team pieces that just he contributes to wins, and the win column is where his contributions show up for numbers, but not necessarily individual statistics. And I totally get that as a sports guy and as someone who watches as much Wild hockey as he can work into his life, which is a fair amount, at least 1 or 2 games a week. We are on a 4-game, I believe we're on is it the Wolves that are on a 4-game homestand or the Wild that are on a 4-game? I want to say the Wild are on a 4-game homestand. Maybe it's a 4-game road. I don't know. We'll have to check it. But either way, the Wild have been having a good season. Super tough Central Division, Western Conference. Still right in there. Long season. Right now, the real only focus and concern in Wild Nation should be getting healthy, barring any crazy, bad breakdowns in certain units of the team, whether that be on defense, the front line, whatever. So there is we're just going to have to make that the balls on ice this week. There's your Wild update again. Wild win the other night 4-0. They lose tonight 3-2 to the Vancouver Canucks. And yes, I believe, that was, dang it, show the dang thing. Yes, they are in. That was at XL. It is a 4-game homestand. I was correct. Woohoo! Yay me. All right, now on to basketball, and then we'll finish up with quick college football and Balls Deep Thought of the Day. All right. So, for balls dribbling, in the NBA the other night, the Minnesota Timberwolves got their first home victory of the season against the winless Philadelphia 76ers. We had to come back late, ended up winning by like 5, I want to say, 96-91, something like that. It was great to watch the 2 rookie big men go at it in Towns versus Okafor in this round 1. Okafor won the head-to-head matchup. fairly decisively. However, Towns won the team matchup as his team got the victory. But Okafor looked exceptional, and Towns looked, it wasn't one of his better nights, but everybody has off nights. It was by no means because, he's not the better player or is significantly not the better player. It is far too early to determine any of that yet. But so your Minnesota Timberwolves are 6-8. And again, these guys, they're kind of in the same place where the Wild are, just with, different ingredients and lessened expectations as a result. The Wild have a lot more veteran, experienced, proven talent and players on their team, as opposed to the Wolves being very young, although being very talented, they don't have a whole lot of experience. And thus the expectations are tapered a little bit different. The Wild are looking to contend for a championship, whereas the Timberwolves are aspiring to contend for an eighth and final playoff berth. Eighth and final playoff seed berth. But both, where they're the same, is both are dealing with injuries right now. In the early ongoings of a very long season, and primary focus and objective is strictly on getting and staying healthy. Of course, there are players who are slumping a little bit, just like the Wild, and could improve their individual performance, but the only real focus of concern is health. Getting Rubio healthy, keeping Rubio healthy. Our wins to loss ratios when he is playing as opposed to when he's not playing this year is dramatic. We have only lost a small handful of games when he is our starting healthy point guard, and we lose all of our games when he's not out there. Not saying that Ricky Rubio is our best or most important player, but he is a very important part of this team's success in terms of winning basketball games. And he is much improved this year. The Ricky Rubio we're seeing this year is unlike any Ricky Rubio we've ever seen in the past. How long it will stay that way, we can only time will tell. But so far, I really like what I see. Kevin Martin, on the other hand, he's been off as of late. Started out with some good offensive output. I think we're just kind of still figuring out how to use him. I've changed my stance on him. I feel that his ideal situation is a Jamal Crawford situation where, you're the sixth man off the bench at the two guard. You come in and you jack up shots. Hopefully you're hot. If you're not, no big deal. We can still win in spite of that. But as of late, the shooting touch has been fairly cold, especially from outside, and he has little to no defensive effort usually. So when he's not scoring, he's not contributing. But last night he hit a big shot in the final closing moments of the game to lock up the win, and I'm by no means anti-Kevin Martin or anything like that, but I have come off my stance that he should be the starting 2 and Wiggins should be the starting 3. Keep Wiggins at the starting 2, but Tayshaun Prince cannot remain the starting 3. Someone else needs to be the starting small forward instead of Tayshaun Prince. But keep Kevin Martin as your sixth man, Jamal Crawford coming off the bench, as well as Zach LaVine. You can kind of have two of those guys where if one isn't on fire, just insert the other one, and hopefully that one is. But Zach LaVine playing backup point and backup two guard. I prefer him as the backup two guard, but I don't mind him getting experience and learning, as the backup point guard either. That option makes more sense to me over Andre Miller. I would like to see Tyus Jones either get playing time back there or get sent to the D-League where he can work on his game and improve. But just do something with Tyus. Anything would be better than what we're doing with him right now, because right now we're doing nothing with the guy. We're just letting him do nothing and not grow and improve as a player, and I don't like that. So, like I said, for the time being, I have no problem with LaVine being the backup point guard, but if we're ever considering putting him as the starting point guard, I don't think that's ever the right decision for this team or any team. I think Zach LaVine, if he's ever to be a starter in the NBA, is a starting two guard, but could also provide great value to your team as the backup point guard